Hey guys, what's up? First of all, I would like to say thank you for all the support on my first video. It was actually really nice. But before we start this video, let's just fill up our water bottles.
A few moments later.
Done? Got your water? Let's get this started. Now that the essentials are done, I hope you're not thirsty anymore. Looking after you guys. First, put on music because I always like editing with music. It's an essential for myself. Now that we got our music on, let's just jump straight into Lightroom. The first thing we're gonna do is going to edit this blue one. This one's gonna be the left picture, and we are gonna push it more towards the teal. The first thing I always like to do is start off by pressing the auto and just see what it does for us. It's not that bad. We are only gonna focus on the left side of the picture, around this much. We're gonna ignore everything on the right side. Once we got the auto set, if it's not how you like it, just adjust it. I'm okay with this. Gonna go down to the HSL tab and just push the colors around a bit. I want the skin tone to be much more natural, as close as possible to the natural. I'm not liking the yellow right now, so if we push it towards the yellow, the orange skin tones, not a fan of it, but when we push it to the red, it's a bit more better. So let's keep it more towards the orange, reddish side. Not bad. The yellow is okay, it's more dealing with the highlights. I'm gonna push it towards orange just slightly. Alright, I can't see any greens in there, but for the sake of it, let's just keep it all the way down on yellow. The blue background, I am going to push it towards teal. The aqua is not doing much, very faintly. The blue, we're going to push it a bit more towards the teal. You can see how it makes the picture a lot more brighter as well. So keeping it on the teal side, not overdoing it, just slightly. Remember, we are going to take this into Photoshop next. Okay, if we push the purple, it's even more better. I like how this looks. Okay, magenta, it's not doing anything, but for the sake of it, let's just keep it on blue, just in case there's some in the jumper. Okay, saturation of red, I think the red we're gonna leave it as it is, but the orange and yellow we're gonna decrease it just slightly. Okay, so you can see how it looks before and after, and it's a very dramatic difference actually. Okay, now the luminance. The red is okay, it's more in the jumper. I am going to push it slightly up. Orange, I am going to leave it where it is. The yellow, I am gonna raise it just ever so slightly. Okay, the green, leave it. Let's see what the blue tab does. Okay, I'm gonna increase it just slightly so the hairline stays, can separate from the background. Okay, now my favorite, color grading. Usually in this, what I do is I always mess around with the highlights. My favorite go-to is 180 on the hue. It's always just works. We're going to push the luminance just slightly up, and you can see how that does just a bit around the eye. We don't want to push it too much. The blending, we're going to push it slightly up, or actually, you know what, all the way up. We're going to leave balance exactly where it is. Let's see what the shadows do. Normally for shadows I do go for the blue, but that's a bit much, so let's just keep it around more towards the teal, but not too much. And then the saturation just slightly, so this one's affecting more of the jumper, just slightly. Maybe 3 is enough, 2. Okay, now the midtones. Alright, the midtones, I usually spin it all the way around and then just see what the whole picture looks with every color with maximum saturation. So, alright, so I'm really digging the yellow so far and the reds. You can see as we go to pink and purple, the skin tones really breaks up. Blue's okay, but this side of the picture I want it to be more teal. And the face, I wanted to keep it as much realism in the face colors as we can. So I am going to keep it more on the orange, more towards the orange, and then just lower the saturation quite a bit. Okay. And then let's see how that looks. Slightly higher. Around 20 on the saturation, and the color more towards orange and red. Okay, for this picture I think that's all. Let's just go down to sharpening. We're gonna remove it completely. All the sharpening I will be dealing with in Photoshop. Okay, for this picture I am gonna remove chromatic aberration, but I am not gonna enable profile correction just cause it's going to be very bright around the edges and I don't want that. Okay, that's all looking fine. We're not gonna add any grain in Lightroom. And for the calibration, I think I might just tweak it very slightly. Okay, we're focusing on the left. It's not bad. Reds, let's push it towards minus a bit. This is affecting the background. Gonna brighten it up just slightly with the saturation. Remember, whenever you do the sliders, try to always push it on both sides just so you know what colors are going to be coming. So for this one I'm gonna leave it on -5. The green primary, let's see what it does to the background. It's making it a bit more teal, but if we push it to the right, the orange turns a bit more orange, so I am going to focus on the right side. Around 20, and saturation maybe around 20 as well. So let's see how that looks. Not bad. It's a bit too saturated for me. We're gonna go back and lower that in a bit. Okay, now the blue primary. So this is where the teal and orange look comes in. I'm going to just change it so little. -10 looking pretty good. And the luminance, I mean saturation, and the saturation just slightly lowered. Okay, now that that's looking pretty good how I like it, I am going to go back into the HSL and slightly lower the saturation and mess around with the luminance. Okay, now that that's done, the luminance I am going to push it slightly more higher. Not too much that we lose detail, just slightly. Okay, now if we check the before and after, it's a massive difference. Remember, we are going to cut it in half, the picture, but you can see how much difference that makes from the original already. Okay, now the second picture. I have starred them so I know which one I'm editing. So that's the first one. And that's the second. To start them, you just press the number that you want. I'm gonna keep it at 5 just so I know which one I like the best. Okay. Same thing goes for this picture. However, this picture is going to be the right side. First thing I always like to do is just press auto and then see what it does with that. So it brightened it up a lot. We are gonna lower the exposure slightly. And let's get started. It's a bit too contrasty for me. I'm gonna keep it as 0, or maybe let's just see what I put on the first picture and we're gonna keep it around the same. So 4. Let's keep it on 4 just so we got the same contrast on both pictures. Alright, the highlights are not looking too bad. I'm gonna brighten it up for this picture. It's a very dark picture. Okay. The blacks, I'm gonna lower it. I don't want the faded look. Curves, we're gonna leave it alone. Okay, the HSL, we're going to be focusing on the right side of the face. Ignore the left. So this one I want to be a bit more orangey, so it contrasts the last picture of the blue background. This one I want it to be a bit more towards the orange. And again, try to bring out as much natural tones as we can. Okay, there's no greens, but I'm gonna ignore it. Aqua, it's mostly going to be in the refraction light over there of the prism. Okay, just lightly. And we're gonna put this to blue. The magenta, keep it there. Saturation on the face. Okay, luminance. Focus on the right side of the face. And that's not looking bad. Okay, midtones, again, I want it to be at 180 highlights for the highlights. The saturation, as I said before, it's always my go-to. Luminance, I am going to push it to maximum. And the blending, gonna bring it up slightly. The picture's still looking a bit too much dark for my liking, so we are going to go and fix it in a second. Let's just mess around with the shadows first. This one around, maybe around blue again, and then drop the saturation. So looking at the background, it does change the background quite a lot, and I want it to stay on the orange side. So let's take it to orange. Okay, very little. Okay, gonna keep it on the orange and the midtones. Like I said before, spin it all around and let's see what looks the best. Okay, so I'm really digging the teal so far on the background. But I think I'm going to keep it around the green and yellow, and then lower the saturation around maybe 3 or 5. Around 5 seemed perfect for me. Okay, that's very subtle changes, not too much like the last picture. Still too dark, but we'll go and fix that in a bit. Remove all the sharpening in Lightroom. And same as last time, remove chromatic aberrations. And let's see what that does. So I don't want to enable it again. Usually I always turn this on first, but for this specific picture I want it to be dark. So we're gonna leave that off. Go into calibrations. And let's see what this does to the picture. Usually this is very drastic, so minimal changes on the calibrations. Don't push it too much. Okay. We still need to brighten up. Okay, so that's looking okay. Here's the before and after. Not bad. Remember, focus on the right side. Okay, now back into the HSL tab. We are gonna push the colors slightly more. I will be dealing with the colors even more in Photoshop. Okay, that's not bad. You can always click this and then specifically change it. And it only moves the sliders which it thinks the colors are in. Okay, not bad. That's a lot more difference. So before and after. Luminance slightly up. Okay, I might actually increase the exposure just slightly, maybe by 0.5, 0.05. Okay, let's see if I remove the blacks. So it does fade. I don't want it to fade. And increase the shadows just a bit more, and the highlights just slightly. Okay, you can see it's getting where we want it. Actually, I might lower the highlights and even maybe the shadow just slightly. Okay, that's not bad. Now that the pictures are done, let's take them both into Photoshop. So for taking them into Photoshop, all you want to do is just right click the picture, edit in, and edit in Adobe Photoshop 2021. Alright, we're in Photoshop now. Let's just see both the pictures are here. Perfect. So now what we do is always duplicate the layer by right clicking and duplicate, and as background layer, yes. Do the same for the other picture. Let's start with this picture first, since it's the left side, and I think this picture does look a lot more cleaner. We do need to fix up the skin tones and everything else slightly. For splitting the picture how I want it, let's just say we want it from just before that started. Okay, so we're gonna start it there and just drag it all the way down and then drag it to the left. It's a bit still on here, so I'm gonna slightly lower it, move it a bit more to the left until I like it. Okay, perfect. Okay, that's perfect. We're going to press the mask button, and it doesn't do anything right now, but when we drag in the other picture, you'll see what it does. So just take this picture, which you duplicated as well, drag it into here and put it underneath the blue layer, and you can see here's what it did. So now what I want to do is try and match the face up together so it looks like one face. So to do that, turn both the layers into a smart object so it doesn't drop in quality. Filter, convert for smart filter, and do the same for the other picture. Okay, now that that's done, we can disable the background layer. We really don't need it right now. And let's just line up the picture until we're satisfied. So I like here, we're gonna follow the nose line. Just gonna follow the nose line right there. And then the hairline, so press Ctrl T and just slightly make it bigger. Until we see the line of the face over here and the top matching. Don't worry about the lips. Okay. Not bad, almost there. Just slightly more. I think that's perfect. Okay, that's perfect. The picture is, however, unbalanced, with the blue one being slightly bigger. So for that, we're going to click on the crop button and just increase it. For Instagram, it is 4:5. But for this video, I am going to leave it at maximum crop size. So there, and then let's just crop it how we like. And I want it to be halfway, so follow the blue picture, and when it gets halfway, that's where we want it to be. That looks about right. Okay, so now we got the right side of the picture being completely blank. What we do for that is create a new layer, drag it underneath the red one, merge both of them together, and then click on the rectangular shape, drag all over the part where there's nothing, go into edit, content aware fill, and what that does is, just looking at the red picture, is going to add in what it thinks will make the whole picture. So we're gonna minus that, remove everything what we don't want to use as information just from the red picture, make it slightly bigger. Whoops. Okay, now that that's done, we can use all of this. Remember, it's just looking at the red picture. Okay, now click apply, and that should fix it. Let it load. whenever it's done. Okay, now that that's done, click OK, and you can see what happened to the picture. It made the whole background thinking what it was right. It left a bit over there, but we'll fix it, don't worry. Now what we want to do is press S or go into here and then clone stamp tool, zoom in, and we want to connect where it looks a bit dodgy. So let's just combine both the pictures first. The new layer, you can see what it is, it's just that. So I want to combine this and the right side picture, combine them, right click, merge layers. Okay, now we're going to press S or go into clone stamp and just stamp what we think will design the whole picture itself. Okay, we're just gonna try and make it look as realistic as possible. It doesn't matter if we have a bit of error in here, there's no detail, it's just however you like it. Just lightly fix it up. Okay, I'm going to drag all the way down. Same goes for this side. Okay. Now that that's done, it looks a lot better. Okay, I don't like the duplicate going on there, so we're just gonna do the content aware fill again. And it should fix what's there. There we go. Not bad. Same goes for the top right corner. Should automatically do it. If it doesn't do it, we're just gonna go into stamp tool and just drag over it. There you go. So that's how it looks so far. Okay, I don't like the repetition going on over here, so we are going to change it. Let's just go into healing brush. If it doesn't work, then I will be doing the spot removal, but that's looking pretty decent. Okay, not bad. So you can see the whole picture here. Okay, now that that's done, we're going to go inside and fix up the image. The first thing I always like doing is cleaning up the skin. So we're just going to take the spot healing brush and just take away all the imperfections in the skin. So to do that, you do need to turn it back into a normal layer. Just click it and it will ask you to do it. Yeah, just click on everything you want to remove. Remember, just focus on the spots. Don't do any lines. Don't do any wrinkles. Just the spots and stuff like this hair. So just with a click of a finger, you can see it's completely gone. Once that's done, do the same for the other layer. Click on the other layer and then do the same here. So everything what we don't want to be, try not to remove natural body stuff if they have any, the person, like moles or anything else. Just spots and cleaning up the skin itself. If you don't like anything, just press Ctrl Z. So if I do something like that and it kind of ruins the picture, just hold Ctrl and then press Z to rewind, if you can call it that. Undo what you just did. Wish there was an undo button in real life, eh? Okay, now that that's done, it's not looking too shabby, to be honest. Gonna fix up the beard just slightly. I don't like this eyes going away. Distractions for the eyes. Click on the others layer again. I could combine both of them, but I don't want to right now, not yet. For this little area here, we're just gonna remove it. It doesn't match with the picture, and just do content aware fill again. It should fix it. And perfect. So going back here, just remove what I added extra. And delete. And ta-da! Done. There's still a bit more, I need to clean it up. Okay, delete, and that's perfect. Okay, that's how the picture looks now. And if you want to see the before and after, let's just turn that on and then let's see it. You can see it there, it's how it looks. So we're not doing too much, just slight differences. Okay, the eye, there's both of them are okay. They're looking good. No dust or anything on the hair, on the jumper. Okay, perfect. Now that that's done, oh, I see a little bit here. So you always want to remove everything that you can see as distraction. It's very minor and small, but still a distraction. Just go over it with a spot healing and ta-da, done. Okay, now what I like to do is I'm going to add a selective color layer over each of them separately. So to do that, I need to clip it to this side of the layer, the left side. And I'm just going to clip it on by holding Alt and clicking in between the layers. When you see this arrow, click it, and that's done. So now you can see if I change anything, it will only change the left side. So as you can see, it only affects the left. If I turn it off, then you can see it affects the whole picture as a whole. Okay, so clip it to the top one. Let's only look on the left side, and I want it to be a bit more orangey on the face. This looks right now very unnatural. We're gonna push it slightly towards the orange. Okay, remember we're going for that teal and orange look, but in a whole different way. Just play around with the sliders till you find what looks best. Okay, now the yellows. You can always push it both sides just to see how it looks. Okay, I'm gonna make it slightly darker. It is a bit too bluish right now and too light. Need to match it for the right side as well, so it's slightly, maybe at +10. Okay, now into greens. I don't think it's going to affect anything. Let's just leave it at 0. Go into cyan. This one's going to affect slightly on the wall. Try to see what happens to it. So I want it a bit more towards the teal, but not unnatural looking like this. Kind of want it still towards the blue, but very slightly tealish. Is that even a word? Tealish. Okay, so -5 looked okay. I'm very picky. I like to be exact number that I have in mind. Okay, now the yellows in the cyans. Really liking it when we push it all the way, but it's a bit too unnatural, so let's keep it around -20. Okay, the blacks just makes it brighter. -20 looked okay for me. Okay, now the blues. Let's just get into it. It's not affecting too much, mainly the walls. I don't want it to be on the magenta and purple side. I'm gonna push it towards blue. Okay, magenta now. It's probably going to affect the jumper a lot. I don't want too much magenta. I find it a bit slightly distracting in the picture so far. Whites, neutrals and blacks, I'm going to completely leave it. Okay, now that that's done, let's make a second layer for the right side of the face now. Same thing, selective color. Clip the layer to the bottom one with holding Alt and then let's start from the reds. Okay, now we're focusing on the right side of the picture. I want it to be a bit more orangey. Again, I don't know if that's a word. Going into the yellows. Going to leave it at 0 for this one. And just slightly making it a bit more orangey still. Okay, the rest of them I am going to leave it where it is. I am kind of digging how it looks so far. However, it's a bit too orange for my liking now. I'm gonna go add in a bit more reds and remove it slightly, not too much. There you go, that looks okay. So the before and after, not bad. So now we have the teal on the left side and the jumper, and then the orange and yellowish color on the right side. Okay, not bad. Okay, I am liking how the picture looks right now, but now we need to do the sharpness and dodge and burn on the eye and face and all this area. Okay, so for dodge and burn, I usually just go with curves, and we're gonna leave it affecting the whole picture this time. So for the burn, we're just gonna slightly lower it until we like it. Don't exaggerate and lower it too much, just slightly. Press Ctrl I to invert it, and then press B to go into brush. Gonna make it smooth and slightly big. This is gonna be a rough dodge and burn. It's not such a detailed picture and it's not a close-up, but I do need to fix up the areas which I'm not really liking right now. So B, turn the brush to white so it paints on the black. This is gonna be a global dodge and burn. So we're just slightly with 1% flow, or maybe 2% for the sake of the video. Burn every area which is a bit too bright and we want it to look a bit more 3D. You'll see what the effect does after. So just to make it a bit more, and I will 3D, speed this up. We are going to burn where it looks a bit more shape. We're gonna add dynamic to the picture basically. You can't see what's going on right now. Remember, we want it to look as much clean as possible and also natural, so don't overdo it with the dodge and burn. So we can see the before and after is just very slightly different. So we're making the darker areas slightly darker, and now we'll do the other side, same thing. Just try to blend in the area so it doesn't look unnatural. we're just blending it in. Normally I would spend a lot more time on this, but for the sake of the video, as I said. Alright, I think the burn is done. If we just check before and after, it's not a big difference, but it does add slightly. Okay, now we're gonna add in the dodge. So what we do for that is just increase from the middle point all the way up, not too much. And then press Ctrl I to invert, and press B and leave it on the white brush, and do everything again. So now this is a global dodge and burn. I am going to be doing eyes as well, so we're just gonna make the eyes slightly pop. Don't overdo it, leave it on 1% maybe for this, and I just want to make everything pop. So just go over where the highlights are and the light areas, and we'll see what it does after. Just try to blend it in. Okay, that's not looking bad. Now the right side. Okay, I think that's done. Let's just make it into a group. Name it DNB for dodge and burn. Let's just turn it on and off and see where it goes. So you can see it's just very subtle changes, but they do have an impact. Let's just zoom out and watch it. And you can see it on the face. It just emphasizes the areas which are dark and light. I do want to add a bit more towards the eye, so we just go into dodge, rename that to dodge. Go into brush, 2% flow, and just add a bit more to the eye. I'm going to change the eye color a bit more towards brown as well, just push it, just emphasizing it. Okay, it's not bad, it's very nice actually. This one I want to do even more. Let's keep it at 10% maybe, and we're just making the bright areas pop. Do the same on the other one with the banana that's in the background. If you guys are wondering which banana I'm talking about, it's the one that's sitting right behind me. It's the LED light. I really like it. It's the one also we used in the photo, and the other light that we used, it's a Pixel GS1 with a prism for the reflection. Okay, let's just see the eyes now. That's before and after. So you can see it's just minor changes, but they do add to the detail. Okay, for the eye color, how I like to change it is I'm going to add a bit of brown, so hue and saturation layer, turn it into colorize, and just slightly make it into an orangey color. Add the brightness, so we're going into brown, lower the lightness, add the saturation more towards orange, and let's mess around with the hue. So somewhere around there that looks okay. So just Control I to invert and B to paint with the brush, and let's leave it at 10%. And just paint over the eye where you want to change the color, just slightly. Just the areas which are dark in this case, not too much. Go to the other eye and repeat the same process. Okay, so it's looking a bit too dark for me. You can see it was a bit better before. Just add a bit more saturation. Okay, and off and on. Just let's zoom in and off and on. Almost looking the same color. Perfect. Just very slightly. Okay, just very slightly changed, and it's very hard to even tell, but on the PC I can see it. Okay, that's done. Okay, so let's just see the before and after. So before the filter and after. So I'm really liking the teal now, it really pops, and the orange as well. They look a lot more satisfying. Okay, now what I like doing is the sharpness. For this, we're gonna make another layer copy of this one. So Shift Control Alt E, which makes a completely new one, and filter, smart filter again. Go into other, high pass. Just ignores what it's doing to the background. Just look at the sharpness. So we're gonna focus on the beard for this one. So not too much. Remember, don't overdo it. So around 1.5 looks okay. Just focus on the beard. And then to remove the gray, we just go into here and click on overlay. And what it does here, if you can see, let's just zoom in, off and on. Just watch the beard, off and on. Okay, so that looks pretty damn decent to me. Let's just make it into a layer mask, and we're going to remove it from the background. So make the brush black and 100% opacity and flow, and just paint off it, just where we don't want the sharpness to apply. I want the background to be really bokeh-licious. So we are gonna keep it on the hoodie. and maybe even the wall actually. I did remove it, but let's just keep it on. Okay, not bad. And let's see the before and after on the background. Okay, it doesn't change, and the beard, it's still there. Off, on. So it's very slightly, but it does make a difference. And now what we're gonna do is make a completely new one. So Control Alt Shift E, make a new one, convert it for Smart Filter again. And this one's gonna be emphasizing the eyes on both sides a bit more of the features. So the cheeks, eyes and nose. Go into other high pass, and this time I'm going to double this. Press OK, make it into an overlay. Turn on the filter. This time press Ctrl I to invert the filter so it's completely off, and we're then go into brush, white color, and just paint over the eyes with 100% flow. We can always reduce it if we want because it's a smart filter as well. And just paint over the eyes and wherever you want to add a bit more sharpness to your picture. So remember, if it is too much, don't worry, we can remove it. So I don't want it on the beard actually, just the eyes. Both the eyes and the eyebrows, and that looks pretty damn good. Let's just turn it off and on, so you can see how much difference that makes. It does look slightly too much, so let's just double click on high pass and maybe make it 2.5, just so it's not overdone, but for the sake of the video I am going to keep it. Okay, so you can see what it does. Let's keep it on and off, turn it on and off. So you can see how much it affects the eye and the eyebrow area. For the sake of the video, I am going to keep it at 3.0 in the high pass, just so you guys can really notice what it does. And I think we're done. That's actually perfect for the Instagram post. I hope you liked the editing with Ronak. Let me know feedback down below, and remember to hit subscribe and like and turn on the bell maybe. If you want, I don't know. And I guess that's all. Stay hydrated. Gosh, I hate tying up my hair. It always gets so... Don't like it tied up this much. It always gets a bit itchy. Do you guys ever have that if you have long hair? Okay, cool. And yeah, I am wearing shorts.